Why is Andrew trying to be a white supremacist now when he's black? He's like, I'm on your side. No, you're not. That's what you believe instead of Islam. What he said literally goes against the core fundamentals of being a Muslim.
I'm not a white supremacist, SNEAK0. Stop crying. You question my faith just because you've been Saudi. You don't have to bring Islam into this and try and out-Islam me. I'm not going to get into a Muslim competition with you. You copied me, SNEAK0. If you said it in person, I would have knocked your ass out.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video and it's Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. I'm sure you guys will most likely have heard of the Haitian migrant issue in America, where it is rumoured that the migrants were eating household pets that were roaming around the streets. I'm not going to get into that specifically in detail because the migrants are Christian or from other faiths and not Muslim. Also, I'm not 100% sure about the accuracy of these claims. SNEAK0, who is Muslim and half Haitian, obviously had a lot to say about it over the last week and has been trending on Twitter for a few days now, going back and forth regarding this issue with a bunch of people, and one of those people happens to be his fellow Muslim Andrew Tate. Tate had put out a long tweet speaking in general about the immigration issue in the West. For the life of me, I don't know why, because tweeting similar things went horribly wrong for Tate quite recently when he spoke about illegal immigration to the UK, which many people claim contributed to inciting the recent riots. To be fair, SNEAK0 actually started the drama with Tate by taking exception to Andrew's comment that stated white supremacists are totally right, with SNEAK0 responding that racial superiority is completely forbidden in Islam, as well as calling Tate Jewish for making that comment. Like SNEAK0, I completely disagree with Tate's comment. However, it was wrong of SNEAK0 to accuse Tate, who says he's a Muslim, of being Jewish. Let's look at Tate explaining what he meant by his initial tweet.
Let's get to the tweet. SNEAK0 supposedly had something to say. He said I wasn't a real Muslim and called me a Jew, so he had to get a bit of smoke. I'm half black and half white. Let me confirm something. Race is real. It's super real. I can literally turn my black side or white side on like choosing a different video game character depending on the situation. Whatever is more advantageous at the time. I can be white in the courtroom, a nigger in jail. I'm a hybrid, the ultimate version of human, but most of you are not hybrid. Most of you are one or the other. The white supremacists who say race is everything are totally right. It is. Ignoring race spells the end of the white man, as the white man's complex systems can be easily overloaded by brutality. White people disagree, court. Black people disagree, kill. Stabbing is easier than suing. It's not right, but it's fast. It's quick, it's efficient, and efficiency wins in the end. White people systems work with white people. Suing only works when suing is the only option. Bottom line, ignore race at your peril. India is India because they're Indians. Norway is Norway because they're Norwegian. You can argue all day about where's better and where isn't, but that is the facts. As a white person, it must be brutally frustrating to see a huge percentage of white people betray their own people. Also frustrating to see people come to white countries and shit on the natives all day, but perhaps white people deserve it for allowing so many white traitors to encourage it. Traitors are the worst. They inspire your enemy. History has always hated rats and traitors for this very reason. They're worse than the enemy itself. The word racist has cucked the white man into surrendering their lands and their women forever. The word racist has turned a large majority of whites into traitors. The white in me feels bad for you. The nigger in me is riding around with white women in Lambos. It is what it is, but race is real. And white supremacists are totally right about this. No white only country means soon there will be no white people. You'll be outbred. You'll be out-violenced, you'll be cucked by words, you'll be betrayed by your own kind, and I am not your enemy for pointing this out. I am your brown friend, confirming you were right all along, but unlike you, I cannot be called racist to any serious effect. That was the tweet.
I personally don't see what good such a polarising rant would do, and I can see why SNEAK0 called out Tate's statement saying white supremacists are right. Any extreme group, no matter what side they're on, should not be encouraged or endorsed. White supremacists are hateful and hold the position that they are better than people with different skin colours. And like SNEAK0 said, this is not Islamic whatsoever. Tate responded to SNEAK0 calling him out by saying, I stopped talking to you years ago for a reason. And SNEAK0 responded to that response with this.
By Andrew's logic, white supremacists are totally right. He should be kicked out of Romania. You see how stupid that is? Like, why is Andrew trying to be a white supremacist now when he's black? Andrew Tate would be deported from Romania following white supremacist logic, but he's like, I'm on your side. No, you're not. You're literally not on their side. Like, what? Bro, like, What is he talking about? He's black, bro. He's black too.
SNEAK0 is right on the money when he said that Tate is indirectly calling for his own deportation by saying white supremacists are right, and that the very people Tate is saying are right would never accept Tate because he is mixed race. White supremacists are not everyday normal white people. Tate saying white supremacists are totally right is like saying Zionists are right about everything, or Islamic extremists are right about everything. No group that harbours hate and separation as part of their ideology is right. And like SNEAK0 said, being half black and also Muslim, you'd think Tate would know better than to try to cozy up to a group that hates him for simply existing due to his ethnicity. Here's Tate's response to SNEAK0.
This clip from SNEAK0, I'll reply to it. Right, I am black. They kept me here for 3 fucking years. Been stuck here. Wish they would deport me. If Romania wanted to keep Romania 100% Romanian, then I shouldn't be here. You're agreeing with me. You just said what I said. I never said I was white. I never said whites were better. And you're right about that point, because I already said it. You copied me, SNEAK0. Wouldn't be the first time. I'm not here to end SNEAK0's career. I mean, I could. The only reason I even replied to him is because he implied I was Jewish, which he knows is a bit far. I've always noticed this about him. He's kind of passive aggressive. He's kind of like one of those girls who like starts a fight and gets in your face and says, hit me then, hit me, hit me, hit me. And then like hits you 3 times, hit me. And then you hit her and she's like, oh, it's like, you can't just sit there and call me a Jew and then be like, why did he reply that? Like, bro, just, you need to chill out. I have nothing against SNEAK0. He's a man on his own journey. I'm not his enemy. If he wants to ruin his career, he can do it himself, carrying down this asinine path of insanity. Now, when I said this, SNEAK0, a few others got confused and like, oh, he's a white supremacist. My black card is in check. That has nothing to do with what I've said. I've said that if white people do not have a white-only country, sooner or later, they're going to end up decimated. That's what I've said. Oh, you said white supremacists are the best. You said white people are the best. Never said that. Where did I say white people are the best people in my tweet? I never said white people are the best. I'm not a white supremacist, SNEAK0. Stop crying. I'm not racist. I'm fucking brown. Then he tries to quote scripture at me. Bruv, you're not a prophet. Chill. I have people I learn from, and it ain't you. So now to the final point that confused our friend SNEAK0. All white supremacists are totally right. No white-only country, sooner or later, means no white people. I didn't say white people are the best. I wasn't racist. I wasn't being anti-Islamic. Who says white people can't be Islamic? Yeah, the whole internet's ganging up on SNEAK0 now for defending people who ate cats, which is a mistake. He shouldn't have done that.
It just seems at this point Tate is doing verbal and mental gymnastics to win an argument. He even called for his own deportation willingly. I doubt if he was being deported from Romania, minus his legal troubles, that he would feel the same. By Andrew's logic, if the whole world shut down immigration and just stuck to their indigenous races in all respective countries, Tate as a mixed race man would be left without a country, because he would not be white enough to stay in the UK or USA, and most likely doesn't know where in Africa his ancestors are from, so he would have nowhere to go. Tate twisted the argument by saying he wasn't claiming to be white or that whites are better. Okay, technically you're not saying so directly, but by saying white supremacists are totally right, you are indirectly agreeing with them that whites are better because that's what they believe. Tate also said that SNEAK0 copied him by converting to Islam. So what if he did? He should be proud of that. He shouldn't use it to take shots at SNEAK0. SNEAK0 may or may not have copied Tate in becoming Muslim, but in terms of practicing his religion, SNEAK0 is miles ahead of Tate despite becoming Muslim after Tate. It seems like Tate is the one that should now be copying SNEAK0 when it comes to learning about and practicing Islam. Andrew said SNEAK0 shouldn't quote Islamic scripture at him and that he doesn't need SNEAK0's advice on religious matters because he has people he learns from. In my opinion, if a fellow Muslim is even one step ahead of you in deen, you should listen to what they have to say. And if we look at Andrew Tate's recent unintentional viral violations against Islam as a religion via his actions and statements, it seems like the people he is learning from aren't doing a great job. However, Tate was right to take offence at SNEAK0 calling him Jewish. This is basically takfiring him, meaning saying that he isn't Muslim, and that is a sin in Islam. But Tate taking jabs at SNEAK0 by insulting his masculinity was uncalled for. And as far as Tate saying he wasn't being anti-Islamic, maybe not intentionally, but by making his initial statement that white supremacists are right, this, as SNEAK0 said, goes against the Islamic position, because that group believe in racial superiority, and by agreeing with them, you're agreeing with haram. Let's look at what SNEAK0 had to say to Tate's response to his initial tweet calling him out.
Tate tweet. Okay, what did Tate say? Tate says, I stopped talking to you years ago for a reason. Okay. As if it's like God's grace to speak. Okay, you know, you didn't even respond to what I say. You said that white supremacists are totally right. I give a fair criticism based off of Islam there, and you're like, I don't like you. You're not on the cool kids table. If that's what you believe instead of Islam, or instead of what I'm talking about, then okay.
And here's Andrew Tate's response to that clip.
No, SNEAK0, that's not what happened. You did not give a fair criticism based on Islam. Firstly, it is not your job in Islam to criticize anybody. Second thing, you questioned my faith and called me a Jew. So you were responded to in kind. You cannot be a passive-aggressive little girl. I understand you're young. But if you talk that way to people, you're going to be responded to a certain way. And you do it all the time. It's not just me. It's just who you are. You're very, like, smarmy, snarky. That's who you are. That's fine. But you deserved it. And you got brutally wrecked because you deserved it. Because you can't call me a Jew. And also, just because you've been Saudi and I've been trapped on house arrest, you don't get to be a better Muslim than me and tell me how the world works either. If you said it in person, I would have knocked your ass out. And I would have helped you get up afterwards and said, sorry, sir, I had to break your jaw. I know you think you're a tough guy because Strickland couldn't finish you. I'll finish you. Don't worry about that. I'm built different. I don't see how you really disagree with me. I think you're confused. I think you think I was saying that white people are better than other people when I wasn't. I was saying the white supremacists are right. They have to keep their country majority white to have a country the way it was before. It's not anti-Islamic to say that white people want to have a white country, so they need to have white people there. We're not even talking about religion. It can be a white Islamic country. You don't have to bring Islam into this and try and out-preach me and out-Islam me. It's nothing to do with any of that. In case you're confused as to why people are upset with you, they're upset with you because you're trying to use holy books, either Islam or Christianity, the Bible, to justify people turning up and killing house pets and eating them. And you're saying, oh, but the Bible, but the Quran, the Bible, the Quran. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to get into a Muslim competition with you or anybody else. I didn't revert to become Mr. Islam on the internet because I'm not qualified. There's people who know a lot more than me who can do that. It's my journey and I'm not here to publicize it. I'm not here to try and show how Islamic I am every 5 seconds. It's my journey. I know the truth of my heart.
Okay, so I totally get why Andrew is angry for being called Jewish. He's Muslim. If you say a Muslim is not a Muslim, it is deeply offensive, and SNEAK0 was wrong for doing so. But again, resorting to name-calling and threats of violence is also wrong. Actually, violence against a fellow Muslim is haram. Again, Andrew seems a little bitter that SNEAK0 is ahead of him in terms of religious dedication. He said just because SNEAK0's been to Saudi doesn't mean SNEAK0 can tell him how the world works, and that he's not competing with SNEAK0 in regards to who's the better Muslim. That sounds a little envious to me. Tate even used his house arrest as the reason why he hasn't had the chance to further his religious dedication, which I think is a bit of a cop-out. Andrew could have learned and shared about Islam from the comfort of his own home since he was released many months ago. He just chose not to. On the other hand, SNEAK0 has been streaming with so many Muslim content creators, and during the same time period, Tate has disappointingly done podcasts with anti-Muslim influencers like Katie Hopkins and cheered for Islamophobes like Tommy Robinson and Nigel Farage. And fair enough, if Andrew wants to keep his faith private and not publicise it, especially not for clout, he's on his own personal journey like he said. I don't think SNEAK0 is publicising his faith for clout at all. And personally, I think by publicising being a Muslim, you help people change their lives for the better because they are inspired by the example you set. So many men look up to Andrew. If he prefers to keep his faith private and not to publicise it, at the very least he shouldn't also publicly promote aspects of his lifestyle that are haram and publicly attend Christian worship ceremonies that practice a different faith. Yes, SNEAK0 publicised going to Mecca for Umrah to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Tate publicised going to a Romanian Easter festival to worship a man god with his brother. It's just very convenient that when it comes to stepping up as a Muslim and being a responsible example, Tate uses my faith as a private matter and house arrest as excuses for his lack of seeking knowledge and actually practicing Islam in his everyday life. Tate doubled down on his position of keeping his Muslim faith private with this tweet, where he said he didn't become Muslim to attract fans from Muslim countries or for protection or because it's trendy, and that people who do dawah online are grifters, as well as taking shots at the haram police. This is ironic because Muslims have mostly given Tate the benefit of the doubt by believing his reasons for reverting are genuine. Just look online for the amount of support he has received. But to say that Muslims on social media are grifters when the same thing has been said about Tate 100 times more just stinks of projection. You sell fast money, fast cars and fast women, Andrew. You still sell that. That sounds like more of a grift than calling people to improve their lives by accepting Islam. Let's look at what SNEAK0 had to say about that tweet.
I did not revert to Islam to try to attract fans from Islamic countries. I did not I did not revert to Islam to use a shield from hate. I did not revert to jump on a bandwagon. That is a grift. I am not a grifter. I keep my faith between God and I. Anthony Joshua, Mike Tyson, Dave Chappelle. Many prominent Muslims are private. Praying in private is showing worship to God. This is true faith. Trying to act as Muslim as possible for internet likes is simply a grift. Beware the haram police. They're the biggest snakes of all. Nobody haram policed him. What he said literally goes against the core fundamentals of being a Muslim. White supremacy is wrong. They're not totally right. It's not totally right to believe in a supreme race. That's everything that we're fighting against. The root of all evil stems from a superiority complex from a race. That's why everything in the world is bad, because of that belief system. In fact, you could say the first act of racism was Satan. When Satan decided they didn't need to listen to God and bow down to Adam because he thought he was superior and he didn't need to worship, that's where evil started. Satan, Shaitan, was the first original racist. So yeah, it's funny to make racist jokes, but racism is evil. Racism is bad. Racism has nothing to do with goodness.
Again, I agree with SNEAK0 on this. Being in agreement with any group or ideology that preaches racism is wrong. As Muslims, we can't align ourselves with such things. And as far as haram police goes, yes, Tate's right. A lot of the time they are over the top. But advising each other or publicly calling out each other's public statements contradicting Islam is not haram policing. It's the responsibility of every Muslim. Let's look at the last clip where Tate talks about why he thinks white supremacists are totally right.
It's because you've been Saudi, G. I mean, you get to lecture on me on nothing. You talking to, Rose? Grab me by your neck. We need to get pretty realistic about this religion stuff. It's not just Christianity, but Islam too. It's very interesting. I saw an amazing video by one of the rulers of Dubai talking about Islam, talking about how tolerant Dubai is. And he was criticizing England, saying that these crazy Islamists that they've allowed to foster hate inside of the UK wouldn't be allowed to do that here. And we're an Islamic country. And the UK is going to learn that they don't know more about Islam than us. This is from the UAE itself. So I understand why the white man's mad. They're upset because they're losing their homeland. I would argue that most of these white racists, if the people around them with different skin colors thought like them and acted like them, they'd have no problem. You're not one of them, Andrew. I don't want to be. I'm a hybrid. I don't want to be one of them. I'm just saying, yeah, I get it. You must be a dumbass to just because you have a little bit of melanin, you can't sit there and understand the white man's plight. The only racist here, sir, is you. If you can't understand how the white man feels as their country gets destroyed and they get replaced and they suffer from a massive cultural shift, you either are too dumb to get it or you're glad it's happening to them because you don't like them. If the white people got the state and the country they wanted, they just divide it deeper down to more dissolution. So what you need is something that unifies people outside of race, especially in the way the world is moving. Islamic countries do it very well. Like I said, UAE is a beacon of civility and functionality and safety. And there's people from all walks of life, all races inside of Dubai. Dubai does it very, very well. You could argue Islam is a perfect way to unify people. The difference between me and SNEAK0, for example, is Islam is an answer to this. I know that. But I'm not going to sit here, even as a Muslim, and say that it will solve the white Christian man's problems, because then they wouldn't be white Christian men anymore. Will it fix certain issues? Yes. Will it unify the country? Yes. Do I believe it's the truth? Yes. Do I believe these countries will eventually become Islamic? Yes. But I'm not stupid enough to sit here and say, the white Christian man should just become a Muslim, because the white Christian man wants to have a white Christian nation. So it's an oxymoron to even suggest it. To say we could fix your problem if you became a Muslim, we would say, well, no, it's not. It's to him. It's like saying to him, not to me. I'm smart enough to put myself in other people's heads. If you say to a white Christian man, well, Islam would get rid of racism and fix all your problems. That's like saying, I'll amputate your leg because your leg hurts. So I don't want to lose my leg. I want my leg fixed. So it's dumb to even suggest it, because that's not what they want to do. That doesn't mean I'm not a Muslim. That doesn't mean Islam's not the truth. Doesn't mean I don't believe. I just understand from their point of view. They want a certain type of country with a certain type of people, and saying that, well, the people don't get along anymore. You need to unify them all. Take this idea, which completely changes the identity of the country. They're going to say, well, no, I don't want that. That's why Muslims get mad at me and get confused when I'm pro the demonstrations in England, for example. Like, well, I understand they're trying to protect their country. They want it to stay the same as they knew it as a kid. You don't like Islam. What? That's nothing to do with Islam. I understand these people. That doesn't change my point of view. Islam fixes the problem of unifying the genders, yes, and unifying different races. It does fix it. That's true. But these white Christians believe that they never had this problem before. So why do they now have to change religion to fix a problem they never previously had? That's their view. I understand their view. If SNEAK0 sits with a white guy who says, I want my country to be like it was as a kid, and he goes, you should convert to Islam, that's not even a real conversation, because that's not what they want. because then it's not going back to how it was.
As you saw, the threats of violence against SNEAK0 continued, as well as the petty name-calling. Andrew also kept pandering to the far right. Tate said he knows Islam is the truth and the solution for the West, yet he thinks SNEAK0 is wrong for suggesting Islam is the solution for non-Muslims. And Andrew outrageously said he himself wouldn't do the same because he empathises with Western Christians. Why as a Muslim are you prioritising what Christians want when they don't prioritise what Muslims want? Any Muslim would put the interests of Muslims first. Most of the so-called Christians Tate is referring to aren't even Christian. Tate is referring to white supremacists as if they are all Christians, which is not the case. They are either majority atheist or they're Zionists or non-practicing cultural Christians. It's actually quite rare to see real practicing Christians on the side of the far right. Andrew, you may not be Jewish like SNEAK0 accused you of, but you sound like you're very pro-Christian for someone that is Muslim. How very strange. And did you guys notice Tate brought up Islamic extremists in the UK, yet when he referred to the UK rioters that he himself admitted Muslims were mad at him for siding with, he never called them extreme. Instead, he referred to them as attending demonstrations. Actually, throughout his whole stream, he didn't refer to white supremacists as extreme at all. If you're so fair, call out all extremists, not just the ones pretending to be Islamic. Tate did make some good points about how Islam would fix society and also gave the UAE a Muslim country as an example of immigration working. He also said if Western countries did achieve a white-only population, they would find a way to cause further divides amongst themselves, as that is the tribal nature of human beings. Yet still he advocated for Christianity in the West. Again, what a strange position to have as a Muslim. If you believe, as you said, that Islam unifies all people and fixes all problems, why would you not want to help everyone by advocating for Islam instead of Christianity? It sounds like you have a hidden agenda. It's not about understanding the white man's struggle, as Tate put it. There are nearly 100 million white Muslims in the world. They are equally our brothers and sisters like any other Muslim. It's about doing the best thing for humanity, whites included. The world evolves, empires rise and fall, and change is inevitable. If Tate, as he said, believes Islam will eventually be the main religion of the world, why are you as a Muslim in any way, shape or form putting up opposition towards that? It makes no sense. I think he needs to consult with his Muslim mentors to take a more Islamic stance on matters, rather than his old way of thinking as it contradicts the Muslim position. I genuinely think Tate and SNEAK0 should speak offline to work things out. I've always said I'm not an advocate for Muslims infighting and bickering online in such a public way, but I think there's more public statements to come in the very near future from both sides. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, where we as Muslims can speak freely and without censorship about issues like this. And remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.